Look, in this video, I'm not going to talk about the one psychological hack that you can deploy on your next sales call tomorrow and your commissions are going to go from $10,000 per month to $50,000 per month, or the one or two objection handling techniques that you can start to use that's going to take your close rate from 20% to 50%. Like, no, just none of that, right? In this video, I'm going to dig into the core of what it takes to be a top 1% closer. We've done over $70 million in client revenue, and I've coached top closers that have done $500,000 cash months. Some closers that have done $700,000 cash months, right? So I know what the top performers look like. I coach them every single day. I know their character traits. I know what they do on their calls to make them be able to perform at this level, right? So in this call, I'm going to dig into it. And this call is going to be about all of the macro stuff that if you deploy will make all of the micro stuff just flow so effortlessly, right? So this isn't going to be about the word for word script on what to say. Like, if you're looking for that, it's the wrong video. And if you are looking for that, you're not going to achieve your goals trying to find that, right? Because that's not the answer. But without any further ado, I want to jump into this video and break down what it actually takes so you can make monumentally more commissions than you're currently making right now, right? So let's start. So how to perform like a top 1% closer: mindset, focus, and energy mastery, right? And just after that title alone, I know there's so many people that just clicked off of the video just because of that, right? And that's totally cool. But the people who stick all the way through, those are the guys that are going to see the big increases in their commissions. And the guys that click off because they think they know it all when it comes to this stuff, or they think this stuff isn't important, are the guys that are going to stay stuck, right? So let's dig into it. So why mindset and systems matter, right? So most closers, they focus on the script, the tonality, the objection handling to improve their performance. But the truth is, your success starts before you even get onto the call, right? So mindset, focus, and energy management are what separate the top 1% from everyone else. And in this video, I'm going to break down the 3 key areas to actually optimizing your performance. And we can start with part 1, which is mastering a high performance mindset, right? And this is everything. And some of you guys will be thinking, mindset, oh, just give me the word for word things I want to say, give me the script, give me the objection handling. I've coached closers doing $700,000 cash months, and when I interview these guys and I ask them what sales trainings they've often done, a lot of these guys haven't done all of the courses from all of these gurus that probably so many of you have already bought and done, right? It's like, no, these guys, these top performers, it's their mindset that separates them. And because they have such a solid mindset, they have probably done less technical sales training than you, and they make gargantuanly more commissions than you because they have mastered their mindset, right? This part 1 is probably the most important part, and this is what the top 1% have, which the others don't, right? And what we want to do is to look at your current self versus your future self, right? So what you need to start doing and what you need to do is look at your goal, right? Really define what that Polaris star is for you, and then say to yourself, okay, this is my goal. Who am I? Who is my current self right now? And is that person able to actually achieve my goal with my character traits, with my habits, with my skills, with all my different things? Is that person capable of actually achieving my goal? And if you're totally honest with yourself, the answer is no, right? Because if you was already capable of doing it, you would have already achieved it already, and you would have been good, right? So you're not capable of doing it. Just be real with yourself for a moment, right? And then after that, it's cool. Like, you're not capable of doing it as you are right now. But then after that, you want to say, okay, who is? Just at this point, you want to vividly draw out and like bullet point down who the person is who's able to achieve that goal with ease, right? Not even, he wouldn't even call it a goal. He would call that thing a base standard. Who is the individual who would achieve that goal, and he wouldn't even call it a goal. He'll call it a base standard. And then you want to write down his character traits. How does he speak? What are his daily habits, right? Does he scroll on TikTok all day? Does he binge Netflix? Does he eat junk food, right? Or does he go to the gym, right? Does he does he read psychology? Like, what does he do? Does he network, or does he spend all his time on YouTube watching YouTube videos and things like this, right? So you want to look at all of these different things and look at how does he approach challenges? Like, what does his life look like as well? Like, picture out his exact life. And then also his beliefs, right? So your current self, like, are your beliefs actually the beliefs that are able to help you achieve your goal? So if not, okay, this other character, this other person, this other self, the future self, what does he need to believe to be able to achieve my goals, right? So you want to look at things from that angle, and then from there, you want to evolve into that character. I'll give you a perfect example as well. So this is me, like this is like my earlier years, right? This was like me when I was living in my mum's spare box room, right? And it was terrible. I was like a personal trainer, as you can see over here. I look a little bit different, and I was a personal trainer. And I just wanted more. Like, I wanted to make a lot more money, but then I was honest with myself, right? So going back to the current self, I wrote down my current self, my character traits, and I was like, man, let's keep it 100. Like, I'm not going to be able to achieve my goals as I am right now. So what did I do? I created a vision for my life, right? So I made this vision board. I had it in digital format and on my wall so I could always remember it. So I said to myself, okay, who do I need to become? Like, who is the person who can achieve that goal as a base standard? It's not even a goal for him, right? So I took character traits from all different people. So Muhammad Ali, right? I needed to be disciplined. I needed to have willpower. I needed to be strong. I need to like to have true discipline and willpower. I need to be able to sit there, do cold call after cold call after cold call, take rejection after rejection, and stay solid and stay strong, right? I needed to have that willpower. I didn't know much about sales at this time, but I knew about the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, right? And I just knew that I needed to be the wolf. I needed to be able to be a top sales professional to get me out of the situation I was at. And I needed to be able to lead salespeople and be that leader, right? And at the time, all I knew was the wolf. So the wolf went on my wall, right? And then I also pictured my dream life, right? Like where I'd want to actually live, my apartment, all of these different things. And even though I was living in this was my current situation. I was always visualizing this every single morning and every single day, and just working to become it, right? And what you're gonna find when you're trying to have discipline, when you're trying to have willpower, when you're trying to improve your confidence and these things, your current self is gonna be constantly trying to drag down your future self all the time. And it's gonna be a constant battle between the two. But then after a period of time, you're gonna be able to actually win and combat it, and then you're gonna evolve into the character you are right now. So this person over here, Melik 1.0, is completely different to Melik 2.0, completely different. I would even argue, like just internally, like on the organ level, like my organ and my cells have completely just changed, right? I'm a different person altogether, right? And what I also did at this time, I made like a manifesto of my life, right? So who is Melik Sterling, right? So at the time I was still living in this, right? But I wrote this out. So who am I, right? And I wrote it as if I already was this thing, right? So act as if and you'll eventually become, right? So Melik is an absolute sales savage. He loves people and connects with them in the most impactful ways, which results in him leaving a very strong impression on every person he speaks with. Melik is free from the chains of desire and lives and enjoys the now, right? Everything he could ever ask for exists in the present moment, but this does not mean he doesn't set goals. No, he sets audacious goals, and instead of focusing on the result, he instead just behaves like the man who can achieve that goal with ease. So going back to this, I realized that I was living in a tough spot, but I needed to just act as if I was this person, not worry about the end result, and just do as that person would do, right? With zero attachment and full appreciation for the current moment and actions that will get him there. And then this, Melik makes consistent $30,000 months as a closer and is a master of communication, influence, and persuasion. He is a winner who conquers everything he embarks upon. His philosophy in life is to conquer and to keep on progressing and to keep on moving forward. The scoreboard can never stay as is. His life is complete, but his life situation will never be complete. So he keeps on competing and keeps working his way up the ladder, right? And just for context, right? $30,000 per month to the closer, I make way more than that right now, right? So this thing will really come true if you ingrain it into your brain every single morning, every single night, multiple times throughout the day, and you work so hard to become that character, and you'll eventually become, right? And The only regret I have is that I didn't make my goals even bigger, because you're probably gonna have that same regret too, right? You're probably gonna say you want to make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and then you're gonna get there, and it's like, damn, like I should have made this thing even bigger, right? And every single day, guys, you want to just work at it, and eventually you're gonna go from this to your dream life, right? And that's what the top 1% have, right? That's what I see. I kid you not, they haven't done all of the courses. They just have this amazing sense of self-worth, right? And they have this character that they've managed to build up over the years, and because of that, that character can come in and just crush, and people want to buy from that character, right? So reinvent yourself, guys. I kid you not, this is like the most important step of all of this stuff. And when you do this, I warn you though, like just like a warning for this, all of the people who know I don't know what your name is, the Ben or the Jerry 1.0, they're not going to like this. They're not going to like it. When they see you evolve, right, they're not going to like it one bit, right? And that's totally cool. Like some of the people that you have in your life right now, they're not going to be a part of your future, but you're going to meet new people, and they're going to root for you, and they're going to love your new character, right? So don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. Some people is going to be like, why is he so confident right now? Why is he so different? Why is he this big shot guy? Like, why is he thinks he's the guy because he's making all of this money. He has a nice, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Keep on pushing forward, and don't let any of the crabs in the bucket draw you back. And I'm warning you, that's going to happen when you evolve your character and you go from 1.0 to 2.0 version of yourself, right? So just like a daily practice is like each morning and evening, take 10 minutes to visualize this version of yourself, commit to embodying that character every single day, and your life will change in ways you wouldn't even be able to imagine or fathom, right? So that's number one. And then part two, right, is build confidence with your game tape, right? So in sales, confidence is key, right? And there's no better way to build it than by reviewing your past wins, right? So create a game tape folder of your best calls. And with those calls, you want to listen to your tonality, observe your flow, your confidence, the way you felt, and use it as a reminder to yourself of what you're actually capable of, right? And that's really important. Like, you want to always be able to get that winning feeling again. And then when you get that winning feeling again, you're going to go into your next sales call with the same internal feel that you had on that call when you was crushing it. And then you're going to be able to repurpose what you did on that call on calls again and again and again and again. And don't get me wrong, it's extremely important to review bad calls so you can obviously improve your game, right? But at the same time, you want to review calls where things went extremely well for yourself. Like, you want to go back to that moment where they gave you their credit card details, and then you made the sale, or you handled that objection. Like, all of that stuff is going to be so important, because confidence is everything in this game. And people always say, well, some people say that you want to do like affirmations, and you want to say, I am this person, I am this, I am that. Affirmations are cool, but I prefer confirmations, right? I want to be able to look at confirmations that reaffirm who I am based upon what I've done, right? And your sales calls, listen to them, are going to help you remember who you are, right? So again, instead of spiraling, like if you ever go through a drought, instead of spiraling, just revisit your game tape, reflect on your wins, and remember you've done it before and you can do it again. You don't need affirmations. You don't need to say affirmations and things like that. You have the confirmation, right? So play the confirmations as well. So don't get me wrong, I am a fan of affirmations too. Some people aren't. They really do work, right? But a step further is the confirmations, right? So that's like a next level to this. And any confirmation that you have of who you are, then play that over and over again. It's going to build that winning feeling within yourself, and that's everything, right? And then part two, which is sharpening your focus through meditation. And focus is your superpower, and meditation has changed my life in ways I make a whole video on that. Like, meditation has really changed my life. And the thing is, great closers don't just listen, they truly understand what their prospects are actually saying, right? So when you meditate, it trains you to focus deeply, allowing you to pick up on subtle cues, objections, and motivations that others miss. So I think we've all been there at least once on a sales call where the prospect kind of says something and it goes in one ear and it kind of comes out the other. And then you're like, oh shit, like that was important. That was something that I could use and I can kind of position my solution as the solution based on what they just told me, but I kind of missed that. Like, what did they, damn, right? And then that stuff there, if that's happening on like a reoccurring basis, you're losing money, right? The top 1%, they don't just hear, they understand. And what do I mean by that? Someone can verbally say something, like sometimes when I'm coaching closers, right? Like, we'll be reviewing a call and someone will say something, and then I'll pause the video. I'll be like, what happened just there? And like, yeah, he said this and his goal was that. And I'm like, dude, he didn't mean that. Listen to his freaking tonality. Look into his eyes when he just said that. Like, just because he verbally said that doesn't mean he actually means it. You have to listen to all the verbal cues, his body language, the slight shift in his tonality, his eyes when he said that, right? Look, didn't you see his pupils dilate, right? And the closers who aren't top 1%, they don't have focus. So they don't see when the pupils dilate. They don't hear the subtle changes in tonality. They miss all of this stuff. They're clueless. They can't see it, right? But then when you begin to meditate, you catch all of these subconscious cues that really help you understand what your prospect is actually saying and not what they're verbally saying, right? So meditation will give you that absolute superpower to be able to do that like nothing else. It really will, right? And scientific insights as well, like meditation strengthens the prefrontal cortex in the brain. So the prefrontal cortex, that's like the area of the brain at the front, and that's responsible for like logic, decision making, and things like this, right? And focus as well. It improves like your attention span and these things too, right? So that's what the prefrontal cortex does. And when you meditate, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and you're able to focus for longer. You're able to be a better problem solver and things like this, right? And it also emotionally regulates the amygdala as well, right? So the amygdala, that's essentially the quote unquote animal brain, right? So like the fight or flight system within the brain, which makes you feel like angry or stressed when someone kind of says something, then you kind of get clenched and triggered up a little bit, right? That's what this part of the brain is, right? The amygdala, right? But when you actually strengthen your prefrontal cortex, right, it helps you be able to better regulate the animal brain, and you're able to use the part of the brain that makes you human, right? The human beings have the strongest prefrontal cortex in the entire animal kingdom, and that's why we're able to be so logical, be great problem solvers, and have the focus that we have. And you want to be able to strengthen that by any means necessary, and the best way to do that is through meditation, right? So it's so key. I'll give you like an example. I remember one time I was closing on this offer, and this founder didn't really have a really good brand. So sometimes we'll be doing a call and then someone will be like, how do I know you're not going to just run away with my money after I send you the money? I don't know. I don't feel good about this, right? And when I wasn't doing my meditation, that would kind of trigger me because I was like so frustrated by that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'll run away with you. And I'll kind of I wouldn't like shout or scream, but my body would kind of like just like clench up a little bit, right? Or I'll kind of take a deep breath like that, and I wouldn't go crazy, but the prospect could just like feel that internal discomfort and the energy that I had, and they wouldn't want to move forward with me because like my energy just wasn't good, and I was getting triggered by that, right? But when I was doing my consistent meditation and things like this, and I had like that level of focus, when that person said that same thing, someone would say it, I wouldn't get triggered at all. It's like, oh, it's just words, right? It's just like A, B, C, D. It's just like, okay, just like a collection of letters that form a word. And I don't feel anything when they say that, right? And because of that, I'm able to handle the objection, that issue in such a better way. So what I'll be like, hey, Mark, well, it was coming to the end of the month, man. I didn't actually think about running away with your money, but the bills are due, my man. So don't give me any ideas, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll kind of like be able to joke around and things like that. And then I'll be like, look, Mark, like I totally understand why you feel that way, and you know you should feel that way, and you know there's so many charlatans in this space, and there's no pressure. I'm just gonna tell you what we do, and if like halfway through this call or like the next 2 minutes of this call you're not feeling it, you want to hop off, just let me know, and there's not gonna be any hard feelings, and I'll be able to handle the objection just way better because I was able to better regulate my emotions, which meditation helped me do, right? So want to meditate, like it's a game changer, right? So actionable tip for you is to meditate for 10 to 20 minutes every morning. I recommend 20 minutes when you're first starting out. If you're like a seasoned meditator, you can go for about 10 minutes and still get the same benefits from it. And you want to just sit quietly, close your eyes, just focus on your breath, and just keep on focus on it, in and out, focus on it. And when your mind begins to like wander away, Just bring it back to the breath. It wanders away, you bring it back to the breath again, right? And if your mind just keeps on wandering and it's like so neurotic and just crazy, that's good, because that means you can actually benefit from meditation more than a lot of people, right? So if you see your mind wandering, then that's perfect, and you're going to have so much to gain from this. So keep on doing it, and over time, you're going to get way more control over your mind, right? And obviously meditation helps you stay grounded, and it teaches you to detach from outcomes, making it easier to move on from bad calls and perform consistently, right? But let's move on to part 3 now, which is optimizing energy through diet and sleep. So all of those things that I mentioned to you before, if you're not eating good, if you're not sleeping good, it's not going to matter, because like if you're not doing these 2 things, then you're gonna have no energy to be able to go out there and actually crush anyway, right? And all of these things are going to affect your focus as well. So that's why energy management matters so much, right? So peak performance requires sustained energy and mental clarity throughout your day. Your diet and sleep are the foundations of your focus and your stamina, right? You have to understand you are a mind athlete. You're not like a physical basketball player or anything like that. Your brain, your mind athlete. So you have to like fuel it to be able to perform at its optimal level, right? If you're not eating correctly, you're not sleeping correctly, and this doesn't mean just like having, your, what's it called, the 5x5, where it's like you have like 5 fruits a day, your daily 5, whatever they call it. Like, no, it's not that stuff, right? It's deeper than that, and I want to dig into it here. It's like actually optimizing it for what you do. So what you want to do is master your diet through mental clarity. So what I like to do is in the morning, I like to do intermittent fasting, right? So you want to skip breakfast to avoid energy drain from your digestive system, right? So when you eat, like, you have to understand, in this world, nothing is free. Like, food has a cost. Like even if you're eating healthy food, like, it still has a cost. Like, nothing is free. When you consume food, that draws energy away from your brain to break down the food within your stomach, right? And if you're drawing energy away from your brain, you're not going to be able to perform at your optimal level, right? Because your brain is like losing energy to break down the food within your stomach, right? So it's really important. I like to skip breakfast, and some of you guys might think I can never skip breakfast, like I need my eggs and my bacon and things like this. Well, I want you to understand it's a complete myth, right? So this is Edward Benet, right? And he's the guy that really pushed the bacon and eggs campaign in the 1920s, right? So he's known as the father of public relations, right? And he ran campaigns posting a hearty breakfast that includes bacon and eggs, and claiming it provided more energy for the day. And still to this day, people still stick with this stuff, right? And he even enlisted doctors to endorse the idea, influencing public perception and making bacon and eggs a stable breakfast, right? And then since then, because of this, people think that they need to have this big hearty breakfast every single morning for energy throughout the day. It's a complete contrast. It draws your energy, right? And even before Edward Benet, Kellogg's was like the first person to really push like the idea of breakfast through cereal in like the 1800s. And because of that, that's why everyone has breakfast today, because of people like this, right? But it's all just propaganda. You don't need breakfast at all to start your day. It's a complete inverse. And you don't have to, like, I'm not going to tell you not to listen to your doctor. Like, listen to your doctor, of course. Like, don't, like, this isn't a health video. I don't want to make it about that. But do your own research, please. Like, just, there's so much information in the world right now. So you don't need breakfast. Fasting promotes mental clarity and keeps you sharp for your morning calls, right? And what I like to do, I like to pair fasting with like a coffee. If you're very caffeine sensitive, you can have like a tea if need be, and it adds like added focus, right? So I had that coffee with my intermittent fasting state, and it does 2 things, right? It helps me be way more focused, and it also quells my hunger, because coffee is like an appetite suppressant, right? So you feel like less hungry, right? It suppresses your appetite. So that's really good for me. And then because of that, I'll be able to go until like 2 p.m. I can go until like 6 p.m. before I have to eat. But if you're new to this, by like 1 p.m. lunchtime, you can have your first meal, right? And you want your first meal to be low carb, right? High protein and moderate in healthy fat, right? So you want to break your fast with a meal that stabilizes your blood sugar and prevents crashes. So if you break your fast with like a chicken sandwich or like a cheese sandwich or like a freaking sausage roll or a donut or something like that, your energy is going to crash, right? Because your your blood sugar levels are going to rise, and then you get that crash, and then you're going to feel like super lethargic, and you're doing your sales call, and your verbal fluency is going to be messed all up, and you're going to just not have that focus, and you're going to be missing all of the intricate little details. Things are going to be going in one ear out of the other because you're not going to be focused, right? So just really important that you want to have a meal that stabilizes your blood sugar. And what I found best to do this is like high protein, chicken, fish, or eggs, fiber-based carbs, right? So you want to forget the rice, forget the grains, forget the pasta, leafy greens, right? So spinach or kale, something like that. And then you want to have it like a healthy fat, like an avocado or olive oil, right? And this is like really good because after you consume this, your blood sugar is going to remain stable, and you're going to eat, you're going to feel satiated, but it feels like you didn't even eat. It's like, what the hell? Like I feel really satiated, but it's like, did I even eat? It's like you managed to, remember how I said before, like nothing is free? It's like you managed to have that meal, but you managed to pay less for it, right? There was like less debt, like you paid less for that meal, right? So the adverse effects of actually eating food were diminished because of what you actually ate, right? So like, I love to break my first meal with that. And then after, I'll come back for my second half of the day. I'll take more sales calls until like 7 p.m., something like that. And I feel like great. Like I did my intermittent fasting, which was like amazing. Had like great energy. I ate. I didn't have to pay so much for that meal in terms of the energy debt. And I feel like amazing. And you have like a great amount of energy for the rest of the day. Energy is really sustained, and you have that peak focus throughout the whole of your day, right? And then what I would have in the evenings would be like a strategic carb for recovery, right? So you want to save your carbs for the evenings to promote relaxation and recovery. So carbohydrates, I'm not telling you not to eat carbs because they actually, when you have carbohydrates, it releases like serotonin in your brain, which makes you like feel good. But you also get that lethargic feeling as well. So at the end of your day, after you took all your calls, that's when you want to have your carbohydrates, when you're like chilling with your girlfriend or chilling with like your family or like your little kids, and it's like with the family, all like nice and stuff like that, where you can afford to kind of not have that 100% peak level of focus, right? And you kind of be a little bit lethargic because you're with your loved ones and you're chilling and your day's kind of done. Right? So that's how I recommend to structure your diet for peak performance, and this will change the game for you like in so many different ways, right? You'll be so focused on your calls, and it's like when you have all of this stuff dialed in, you feel like I've seen like the movie Limitless, that guy where he kind of has that pill and then he has all this energy because he has that pill and he can break down all of this stuff and he's so intelligent. That's how you feel when you optimize your energy through your diet and your sleep, right? And we're talking about sleep after, but that's how you feel when you manage to do that. You feel like amazing, and it feels like you're a more intelligent individual, even though your IQ is the same, right? So that's awesome. And just for like a side note, some people might be into like the ketogenic diet and things like this. And I'm going to tell you this if you want to potentially do this as well. So to be completely frank with you, the ketogenic diet was the best diet I ever had in terms of just pure mental focus and clarity, right? Like there was literally nothing like it. I was like so locked in, laser focused, right? So if you choose to experiment with that, you can. I personally wouldn't recommend it because of the other potential negative health attributes that can be associated with it. So with me, when I did the ketogenic diet, this is me per se, my cholesterol went like just off the chain high. The doctor couldn't even believe it. I would start to get like heart palpitations and chest pains, even if I supplemented with magnesium, sodium, zinc, and magnesium, sodium, zinc, and potassium. It doesn't matter what I supplemented with, I just still felt messed up, right? And yeah, it just wasn't worth it. So even though my mind felt great for a period of time, I eventually had to pay for it with like general health issues. So the way I've structured this is, in my opinion, the best way, because you still get like a balanced diet, but you're just being strategic as to when you consume what you consume, right? So I recommend this approach because it's balanced, and you want to also not just you don't want to just focus on overall health. So you don't just want to focus on focus, you want to focus on actual longevity and overall health as well, because if you don't focus on your overall health, you're going to have to pay for that in the future, right? And that's going to take your focus away from actually making money, right? So I recommend this. This is just my approach of doing things, right? And sleep as well. So sleep is the ultimate performance hack, right? So sleep is where your body and brain recovers and consolidates memories and prepares for the next day. Without it, your focus, mood, and decision making just suffer, right? So look, all these guys saying like grind, sleep for like 4 hours and work like 15 hours a day, you're not gonna get, your output's gonna be terrible. Like you're probably gonna get like 30 minutes of decent output, even though you're working like 12 hours per day. Like you really want to sleep. Sleep allows you to do more in that moment. So you might be working 12 hours a day right now, sleeping 5 hours a day. But if you sleep well, you have full energy, you have full focus, you can work 8 hours in a day, but you can get more per minute, more per hour, because you have way more focus, right? And you guys have to understand, in Chinese war times, and even like the CIA, for example, they actually would torture people through preventing them to sleep. Like literally, that's like a torture method that the CIA used, and also was used a lot in Chinese war times as well, right? So people would actually like prevent people from sleeping as a form of torture. But in today's age, people self-inflict this torture upon themselves, which just completely blows my mind, right? So don't torture yourself for no reason, right? Like you haven't been held captive by the Chinese, right? So there's no need to self-inflict torture on yourself. Like literally, this is what people would do. And then after they would torture them, they would become a little bit like delirious and things like this, and they would like hallucinate, and they wouldn't be able to make good decisions. And then after that, they'll be able to spill intel to like the CIA and things like this, because their mental clarity is just not there, right? So they'll lose all their willpower as well, you know. So if you're not like sleeping well, you're not gonna have that same amount of willpower. You're gonna snap on calls and be disrespectful if anyone disrespects you back or anything like that. So it's really important, guys, you get sleep. It really is. If you don't get this, then nothing else would even work. So I really recommend it, right? So here's sleep tips for closers. You want to stick to a consistent sleep schedule. You want to sleep like 7 to 8 hours, right? And you want to avoid screens 1 hour before bed to optimize melatonin production. And then you also want to put your phone and your laptop on night shift mode, right? Which will like warm your screen, and that's going to make it easier for you to sleep. So like at about 6 p.m. I put on night shift mode, or 7 p.m. and then that helps me prep for my actual sleep time. And you want to create like a calming bedtime routine, right? So like light stretching or reading can be really good, and avoid heavy meals or caffeine in the evening, right? So again, like poor sleep leads to brain fog, irritability, reduced ability to handle objections, and think creatively as well, right? So you're not going to be able to handle objections. You're going to get triggered if you're not sleeping well, right? And you just don't want it to happen. Like even like a perfect example for me, right? I messed up. I didn't get good sleep, right? And I was traveling one time. I was traveling from one part of the country to like another, and I was awake for like, I kid you not, like 2 days. I was building at like sales presentations and marketing, and I didn't sleep, and I messed up on this, right? And I'm working throughout the night. I'm working, trying to meet this deadline, and then like I know I have a flight in a couple of hours, and I've been awake for like 2 days. And as I'm like just like still working and after working, packing my bags, like I'm just anxious, and I'm like, frick, I'm gonna forget something in this hotel room. I'm gonna leave my Rolex in this place. I'm gonna leave my iPad. I'm gonna forget something, and I'm just gonna this isn't gonna go well, you know, because I know when I lack sleep, I make way more stupid mistakes that I wouldn't have made if I had like a good night's rest, right? Anyway, I jumped on the plane. It was like a 3-hour flight, and I got off the plane. I was like super happy. I was like, I didn't mess up. I didn't lose anything. I'm still feeling good. I'm gonna go back to my hotel. I'm gonna sleep. And I was in the restroom at the airport, and I'm like washing my hands, like, yes, I'm about to get out of here. And then I'm in the immigration queue, and I'm like looking at my hands, and I'm like, what the frick? I'm like, where's my freaking Aura ring, right? So if you guys don't know, like an Aura ring is a ring that you use to like track sleep and helps you so you can like actually improve it, right? And just ironically, by me not sleeping 2 days, I ended up losing at the airport the thing that actually helped me improve my sleep the most, which was my Aura ring, right? So again, like I never lose stuff. That's sloppy. It's not my style, and I don't like making mistakes like that. And yeah, when I was washing my hands, I took the Aura ring off to wash my hands, and I left it in the bathroom, right? And I was pissed, not because I just lost the Aura ring. I already kind of knew how to track my sleep very well. So it wasn't just that. It was the fact that I made such a stupid mistake, and it could have been like a lot worse, right? So it's ironic though, right, that I lost the thing that helped me sleep by not sleeping well. I made that stupid mistake. But that brings me on to my other point. You can actually purchase an Aura ring, which is like really good. It actually tracks like your deep sleep, your REM sleep, and then you can actually begin to, it's like they say, right, if you want to improve anything, like at least begin by tracking it, and then after that you have like a base, and then you can see what adjusts that base, right? And the Aura ring is like really good for that. and you'll see like what foods worsen your sleep, what foods benefit your sleep. You can actually see how deep you're sleeping, and if you're actually restoring your body during your sleep as well by using that for a couple of months, you can really improve your sleep a lot. So I wouldn't recommend using it for years or anything like that unless you really want to, but I kind of have a good gauge of what I need to do in order to sleep well. So now I just literally do it because I tested so many things. I saw the increase in sleep quality and the decrease based upon all of the things that I experimented with, right? But really good tool if you're just starting out of this. So just to kind of sum it up, guys, right, the conclusion. So aligning mindset, focus, and energy, right? So the key takeaways, number one, like without this is the start of it. Master your mindset, reinvent yourself, and commit to becoming the closer you aspire to be. And when you do this, the crabs in the bucket, they're going to try to pull you back down to their level, but keep on pushing, stay strong. People are going to hate. Doesn't matter. Just evolve yourself, evolve from that 1.0 version of yourself to the 2.0 version of yourself, and you're going to be so happy with your life, and the real ones will stick around, and you're going to meet some realer ones along the way as well. And that goal you have, it's going to become a base standard, and it's going to become so easy to achieve it, and you're going to be wishing that you didn't set a bigger goal for yourself, right? And then also you want to train your focus, so use meditation to sharpen your attention, regulate your emotions, and perform consistently. Just 10 to 20, start with 20 minutes, really get good at it. Start with 20 minutes a day in the mornings, right? Just before you start to take your sales calls, will change the game for you, right? And then optimize your energy, manage your diet and sleep for sustained peak mental and physical performance, right? So remember, right, intermittent fasting is really great for this stuff. It will allow you to have more mental clarity in your mind, and then break your fast with protein, healthy fat, and low carbs, but carbs that are high in fiber, like spinach, right? And then just backload your carbohydrates, like the starchy carbs, like the pasta and the rice, things like that, the sweet potato. Have that at the end of the day, right? And after that, you can afford to have that slight energy dip, and you'll be sharp again for the morning to come. So that's pretty much it, guys. Like, this is it. Like, this is what the top performers do. I've seen it. This is it. This is what I do and have done. And the guys that are doing $500,000 months, $700,000 months, they have these things dialed in, right? And I'm kidding you. I kid you not. I beg my pardon. I kid you not. It's not about doing every single course from the guru. It's not about that, right? Like, some of the best guys that I've ever had on my team, they've done like training by like one person, and they're so freaking good because they have this stuff dialed in, right? So if this was beneficial to you guys, just let me know. I can make like more videos like this as well. And if you're a closer looking to transition now into becoming an actual sales agency owner, we have a whole program like that. So this is all great, being a top closer, being a top performer, collecting cash this way. But if you want to literally 5x, 10x your income, there's another vehicle to be able to do that. So if you're interested in learning about how you can become a sales agency owner, have closers under you, and make more money than you're currently making right now by a landslide, then just click the link in the description or the comments of this video. You can book a call with our team to learn about that if you're ready to kind of make that leap now and kind of level up your game to a different degree. So see you in the next one, guys. Peace.